tinfoil hat. You want me to get my
Have you?
tinfoil hat on?
You can get it if you want to. We might
I'm
need it.
saving foil, man. I'm like my grandma. I'm saving bacon grease and aluminum foil these days.
Are you for real?
Nah. Man, I'll be honest. I lived through the ice storm, which is nothing like this, but we didn't have power. You couldn't go
Yeah.
to the store because they couldn't sell you things. So when we got a house big enough that had a pantry and stuff, like I haven't bought toilet paper during the whole pandemic,
Right.
because I had enough fanny tickets, whatever you'd like to call it, shit tickets, whatever, for
Fanny
our adult
tickets.
crowd.
What's a fanny ticket?
I don't know, because shit ticket. You guys got any shit tickets? I need to poop. That's what my buddy called them.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you.
Toilet
I got
paper.
you.
I don't know.
Toilet paper.
But
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
my mom and dad got me a deep freeze for Christmas when we bought our house, and I was like,
Nice.
of all the things to get me, and now I'm like, oh, mom and dad, the Ring camera and the deep freeze. Yeah.
That's the kind of shit. Your mom and dad always get you the kind of shit. It's like when you open it, you're like, oh, okay. And then later on, it's like, man, I'm glad they got me that shit.
Yeah, no. As I crank out pizza pockets at a high rate of speed at 2-minute increments.
Yeah.
Wearing
your long underwear.
Pizza pockets. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I did go to, man, okay, so you and I, we share a lot of opinions. We differ on things, but we can definitely have a conversation and walk away. And
sure. And still be not stab one another. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when everybody was kind of that way.
Yeah.
And even like now with the news, one news outlet will say one thing, one will say the other. I feel like I'm intelligent enough not to listen to either of them with too much, I kind of go in the middle, research things. If I really want to know what's going to happen with this pandemic, I look to the Italian news or the French news. Can't look at the news from China because
it's all skewed.
CCP. It's communist controlled,
right.
And they kick journalists out. So, but it is interesting, like all the stories you see from news agencies that are like for the non-oppression of Asian American and Chinese peoples, that they're saying like way more people died. There's all these cell phones that went silent. They stopped testing. So
I saw that.
Any of that information, and then Dr. Fauci, who, he's a doctor. He's been around a minute. I don't have a degree. He said today that the death toll could be 100,000 to 200,000. And that's staggering to me.
What, just in the U.S. or what?
Just in the U.S.
Yeah.
At first, he said, there'll be a million or 100,000 positives, 200,000 positives. He goes, I'm in this. It's like, whoa, that's a big,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem is I don't think they fucking know because there's not enough testing. They haven't done enough widespread testing. Like, when you do polls, like political polls, you'll do like a scientific poll where you're doing a cross section of society, and you're trying to cancel out all the biases and all that kind of shit when you're putting all the data together. So you want a data set that's representative of the population. So you get people from, all the different states, usually need to be represented. It has to be random, and it has to be, use some methodology that ensures that you don't have selection bias in the, what you're picking. So it seems to me that the problem here is selection bias. You're only selecting the sickest motherfuckers to test. So you're going to have a high death rate if that's all you're testing. I think around here they even said they're not testing anybody. They're sending everybody home essentially, unless they're just the worst of the worst, and they test them. And then like the healthcare people, they'll test them, for good reason. But anybody else, pretty much, man, they're not testing people.
You and I both live in Kentucky.
Yep.
Opposite ends. I'm in Madisonville. I am 2 counties away from the Tennessee line. You drive through Hopkins, that's me.
Yep.
Through Christian, and then you're in Tennessee. So,
and you get hotspot down right there.
Yeah. Well, what happened is they called off all church services. And I wondered when this would happen. I am in a very religious spot of the world, in the United States, of wherever. There
We're
are a
in the
lot of
Bible
people
Belt. Yeah.
yeah, and people depend on church for reassurance and other things. But if a business isn't going to close that has so many people, a preacher isn't going to close his parish or church to people if they see business open. That's how I feel. I might be wrong about that. But what happened is I don't think I get in trouble for saying it because we all know down here, I don't know about HIPAA. There was a man that died. He was 73. He was a preacher. He had church. Now there are 10 more people infected, but 100 in quarantine. Man, I only live in a town of 20,000, and that's without liars. I live in a small seat, in Western Kentucky. And so that's pretty alarming, especially for me. I have a sister that's handicapped. She usually spends a little time in the hospital every year, sometimes on event. Thank God she has a Trilogy machine. I don't know if people know this. I've seen contrary, but CPAP machines in just the worst case scenario you can override pressures and get them up to get your tidal volume up. And also the thing is, if you think about it, you have a CPAP on your face, you're losing all this pressure around your mouth. It's Velcroed on. If it was inside your body, it would deliver tidal volume a lot more efficiency.
Right.
I'm not advocating anybody go do that, but I know my sister has a machine called a Trilogy machine, and it will help her breathe, will assist her breathing if she were to need it. My dad worked in the mines, coal dust, black lung, COPD.
About everybody, man, for my family.
Everybody down here. And then you throw in, they say people with arthritis. Well, people down here we're going to be arthritic. People with high blood pressure who don't like a good steak and bourbon. It's Kentucky. So what did you think about them talking about closing borders? Are you there yet? Do you think it's crazy?
No, I don't think it's going to help very much because I think it's already been everywhere. I mean, because like we were talking, and I meant it when I said on my Facebook page, I put a Facebook post up, and I think you commented on it. I think I had this thing, honestly. I had two different sicknesses this winter. I had one that was kind of over the holidays and into January, and it lasted, it must have lasted almost a month itself. And it seemed like about the time I got over that, I got just slammed with this other thing, man, that was even worse. And I think that second one, might have actually been the coronavirus. And it might, we didn't realize it was here as soon as it was. And I think it's more widespread than we believe it is.
I think so, too. I think that a lot of people don't, maybe, and I don't mean to just say a lot of people don't pay attention to things, but a lot of people don't fly. Like people that I know, and I'm not saying it, like the people I know don't have jobs where they go get on a plane. They fly when it's vacation time.
Right.
And even then, if they got a lot of kids, they drive.
And it's not even vacation time yet.
Yeah.
From where we're from, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just what it is. And so I think I fly a little bit for work. I'm very blessed to have a cool gig and get to hang out with a lot of people. But this year, I started running everything back at the end of December. Before Christmas, my wife had to fly to Florida. So probably nothing. I'm just stating she flew to Florida. And I flew to Maryland. I worked for, Al, I'm going to drop a name. Al, my foot. I work for PRS Guitars and do clinics and stuff. And Paul is a very good friend. And I've called him a lot during this because along with being like a super guitar genius, Paul has a lot of patents in the medical field, digital harmonics. Paul's really, he's got his hands in a lot of areas, and and he's very smart, and thank God he does. So, I got nervous with all this, and so I flew up there at the end of December, maybe the 1st of January, around New Year's, and we were getting ready for NAMM, and NAMM is this giant thing in Anaheim. And Anaheim is like hub for conventions, Comic-Con, all these things. And so I think it was the 17th through the 19th, maybe thereabouts, because my mom's birthday was there.
So January.
Yeah. My mom's birthday is January the 19th. I remember celebrating Paul Miles, custom shop dude. happy birthday. It was his birthday at NAMM. We were celebrating. But I specifically remember going down to the bottom hall at NAMM. And if you've ever been there, the bottom halls were like, you find all the cool stuff that hadn't become mainstream yet. And there are also a lot of dealers that build kind of copies of guitars.
Yeah.
You know, and that have music store filler, like not your big brands, but like Samick may have been down there. I don't know that they were, but just for instance, a company that builds for other people.
Yeah.
I was down there and, you know, I didn't know about this then, or maybe we just heard about it. But I remember seeing a lot of people with masks on. I mentioned it to my friend. He was like, "Ah, man, that's normal." It's like, okay, I've been to NAMM a few times, and maybe it was, but it was after that. When did Kobe Bryant pass away? It was at the end of January, correct?
Yeah, somewhere around long in there. Yeah.
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 So right after we flew back from NAMM, well, while I was at NAMM, I got sick. Not like really ill, but I just find it hard to sing. I had to play and sing out there. I didn't feel 100%, but I got back and my daughter tested positive for the flu. It's kind of scattered, but I have 4 children in the school systems of different ages, so we get everything. And my wife's an
same
educator.
here.
Yeah. So we get things, and usually we get a runny nose and we get over them pretty fast. But my daughter, she just did not get better. She wanted to go see my mom. My mom has COPD, some other things. This was after my mom's birthday, January 19th. My mom got so ill that she went to the doctor on 4 different occasions.
Mm.
She went once because she said, I can't keep food down. I can't eat. I'm losing weight. I'm already skinny. I'm worried about my health. And she did. She dropped like 10 to 12 pounds just rapidly. And my dad and I were both really concerned. Went back to the doctor. He was like, I don't know. We'll run some tests. So she thought she was getting better. And then the breathing part hit her. And my mom, like I said, my mom smokes. And she has COPD. I'm not saying it's why. So if this ends up on anything, I'm sure I'll get troll comments. That's fine. But that's her choice. You know, it's America. If you don't like it, it's America. Suck it. It's America. But she didn't feel well. And I remember talking to her and she said, Bosco, I've never been this sick in my life. I think I'm going to die. And they have like oxygen tanks for my sister and other things, nebulizers, you know, all this kind of stuff because they're sick with respiratory illness.
Yeah.
And she went to the doctor and he finally told her, like, I don't know what this is. You're going to have to come in for a scan. I wish she would have went in for the scan. She didn't. This was about her 3rd to 4th week. She started feeling better. She quit smoking during this time. So a lot of people, well, that's why she feels better. The woman smoked for over 45 years. My mom's 60 something. I'm assuming she started like everybody here when she was like 15.
Right.
She stopped smoking. It scared her bad enough, or, you know, it made her scared and she didn't want to smoke anymore. I've tried to get my mom to quit smoking forever, you know.
Yeah.
And nothing did it. So something scared that woman. And so we do wonder, and I will say this, if it wasn't, then God help whoever gets this if it's worse.
If it's worse than that, yeah. I feel you on that.
So, but I've been in quarantine for 15 days or over. I did my last gig a few weeks ago. Our governor said, you know, we're shutting it down. Well, not, you know, he said we're going to be watching things.
Voluntarily,
so
more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
What he's kind of advocating.
Evansville hadn't done anything yet, or Indiana. So I did my last gig at a bar over there on a Thursday with my buddies. Nobody was ill. Everybody was good. Nobody from that, you know, our last time out has been sick. And like I said, I have children. We've been on lockdown, and I mentioned we have a good amount of food. I don't want to say a stockpile, but I haven't gone grocery shopping a lot. I've gone for my mom. And when I go, I wear my big giant respirator with 2 big things on it and hope people look at me funny, because any video I've seen of anybody in China protesting out on the streets, doing anything, these guys are making a huge selling point for these masks.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got one.
Man, Yeah. So your daughter, you said she tested with the flu. Did she go over to your mom's house or no? Or no?
She tested for the flu.
Yeah.
Now, my mom tested the first time she went. That's what they tested her for. My mom tested negative for
Okay.
her flu, and then they did a strep test.
So she did get tested for flu, and that was negative.
Negative, yes.
I'm hearing that from a bunch of people, dude. I
Yes,
put up,
she
like I said, I
definitely
put up
was
that.
tested.
I put up that Facebook page or that, talking about my situation. I didn't get tested like either time. I didn't even go to the doctor, but man, I was real damn close. You know, that's about the sickest I've been. Probably in 15 years, dude. Easily.
It's, man, I have, when I moved back to Kentucky from Nashville after my failed experiences being Johnny Ray Mullet. I'm kidding. I didn't try to do that, but I was down there playing guitar. When I came back, I was like, I need to learn a trade. I need to take care of my kid. And my sister's handicapping on all these machines. And I was like, what better way to make my parents feel safe than to be able to fix some of this shite? You know?
Yeah.
So I do have a decent amount of knowledge on transfer. I'm not a genius or anything, but there are certain things that just seem like, why weren't we prepared? Why wouldn't the medical community have as many masks as a construction company?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it was depleted because of a previous thing or not, I've seen, but it, and other things. I wonder if the disease dies after so many days on paper. If you leave a mask off, this sounds stupid. Wouldn't it die? Couldn't you reuse the mask later? Maybe not. Don't know.
You would think that you would be able to put it in a deep freeze and freeze any.
I saw a guy using
pathogens
UV light
on
in Ohio, using UV light. I don't know, but
UV would do it too. Yeah.
I know one thing that I saw that helped Korea, and I mean, I've really tried to anybody I know that might be able to help. I sent it to our local mayor, Kevin Cotton, and he was like, "Thanks, man, this could help." But they did like basically telephone booths with lunch lady gloves in them, because lunch lady gloves are waterproof.
Yeah.
So if you put your hands in there and you're not in there with anybody, only one person had to have PPE in Korea, and they had a bleach bucket, basically, and it was a plexiglass phone booth, 3 of them. You walked in, they stuck their hand out and swabbed you, and that protected the people on the other side. They were behind plexiglass.
Sure.
So maybe that's something that can help.
The other thing too is you would want a way to sterilize the gloves on the outside, so you didn't, like, the people who were negative didn't get infected by the people who were positive. And,
oh well, yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's the thing about I have a picture of it. I'll send it to you later. I was reading. I was like, well, how did South Korea do it? Well, testing, but how did they do the testing?
Yeah.
Even like in car, my thing was, if somebody drove up to me in a car, I'd be like, turn your dirty face away from me, give me a nostril. And I would get a piece of plexiglass, make a shield with a hole in it. And then if someone did cough, it stands to reason that all the matter coming out of their lungs and mouth would be in their vehicle.
Right.
In their car, so then you could just go throw your shield down and bleach or whatever. And I don't know, man, like, I know that those things kill it, though. It's not a very strong germ or virus, I should say.
Right.
It has
you can kill it just like you can with the flu. Yeah.
friction with water. So, like, could you test people in a Dunkin' booth and then jump down in water, or have a shower? Like,
Did you see the thing where I think it's I can't remember who it was or what university, but there were a bunch of students who had developed like a way that you could build your own the machine, the breathing machine, ventilator.
Yeah, the ventilator, the crowdsourced one.
Yeah, the crowdsourced one. Yeah, did you see that?
MIT has one that's really cool with the wooden. It's basically a manual vent with a servo motor on it, with a instead of I don't know the right word, but it's off axis, the center of the motor.
Right.
So it goes up and down. It's elliptical.
Right. It's a
yeah.
I know what it is. It's a
I'm sure someone will
eccentric
help.
wheel. Eccentric. Yeah. It's an eccentric wheel. There you go.
An
like
eccentric
a cam
wheel. I've been called that before.
Yeah. I've been called a eccentric tool many times. But no, seriously, what do you think about all of the kind of, let's get conspiracy minded for just a second. Let's put on our tinfoil hats just for a second.
God, don't do it.
Because
don't do it.
I have to. You know, I have to. I haven't done this. I haven't done this yet, but
okay, I'll go there with you.
There are a couple of things that I can see. It's like, first of all, in any situation.
Are we really gonna have a conspiracy theory?
Oh yeah, why not? What you got? I've got nothing here close by.
I'm gonna get my eye patch out. Hold on a second.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. I just feel like there's that one guy, Crenshaw, with the eye patch.
Oh, I know you're talking about Dan Crenshaw or whatever his name is. Yeah.
What a great guy.
Does he do conspiracy stuff? I didn't think he got.
Oh, yeah. He not really conspiracy, but he had some strong beliefs that people could.
Yeah. I thought
he had some words for Hillary Clinton about all this.
Right.
Man, everyone can criticize the president. I've not been a big fan of some of the stuff he says, but he's the president. I'm not.
Dude, I mean,
no one's ever dealt with a pandemic.
Well, not like this. I mean, they did before, but it's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. And the thing is,
I don't president during the Spanish flu, because it was
let's see. It would Woodrow Wilson. Would have been Woodrow Wilson.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Damn, you're good, you smart bastard.
You know, I can recite all of the presidents in order.
I used to know that song.
Did you know the song?
I learned it from Animaniacs.
Oh, they had one that was the states.
Yeah.
My daughter just did one too that was all the states, like in her little 4th grade play or whatever that she did just recently. But yeah, I still know that, man. I still know that fucking president's song. So
man, mnemonic songs help, little things.
It's really good.
Of the colors of the rainbow,
Dude, I remember that shit my whole life,
Education was something back then, huh?
Yeah, I know it. It worked.
Crazy.
It actually worked.
I have to draw pictures of milk cartons to add the son of a bitches up. I hate that. Jesus.
But no, I mean, if you ask like who benefits, because key bono is the question you always ask when shit goes down. Who benefits from this? And if you look around at the landscape and see who benefits and who are the losers.
Oh, most definitely. Why did it hit that one area and no other major area?
Right. And that's where their laboratory is. Their only infectious disease laboratory in the entire country.
Yeah,
it's in the
just happens to be by the wet market too,
which
is convenient. And it was a pangolin, and it was a bat, and it swallowed the fly to get the pangolin. It swallowed the pang. I don't know what eats a pangolin.
But the thing is, what would you do though if you were China and you wanted to destabilize the world's economy and you wanted to get over that final hurdle of like becoming the major superpower and take everybody else down in the process? What would you do?
I wish I was upstairs in my library, and that's not a euphemism for the bathroom. We actually have a library in this house. And I have a bunch of books, and I can't recall the name of it, and I could try to find it real quick, and I may not. But it's basically about if the Communist Chinese Party wanted to overthrow America, how would they do it? And basically, the first thing they talk about is there's no way militarily. There's no way. Couldn't do it. Even with their people, they don't have the weapon. The way they would have to do it is through biological warfare. Now, that's what...
Or economic warfare.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that would cause it. Because that's really the only way you could do it and it almost be plausible. Like, well, we couldn't stop it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I didn't do it.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I continue to say the Chinese Communist Party because that's the party, not the people.
Not the people. Chinese people is two different things. I'm with you on that.
My wife and I were watching a documentary about the press reporters shot while they were rioting over there. It was in Beijing, and how it escalated and how it escalated, and then they weren't backing down, and then this. That's the other thing. Timing's everything with a conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Like,
and our trade war.
Jeffrey Epstein had COVID-19.
Hey, dude, honestly, man, that's another angle too. There was a picture I put up of Bill Gates. He was pictured with Jeffrey Epstein, and he went to his fucking apartment a couple times. What the fuck is Bill Gates, the second richest man in the world, doing at Jeffrey goddamn Epstein's apartment?
I guess he needed some young cells to study.
He obviously doesn't. He obviously doesn't need a business connection. What kind of business connection was he going to provide for him?
I didn't
know. You know what I mean?
Also, the guy from Harvard, the scientist that got arrested
with
the Chinese, that's the other thing.
That's too. That guy. I know exactly who you're talking about. He was
a lot of major schools that aren't state schools have research and grants and policies that are funded by China. I'm not making it up. Texas A&M was a huge school that had a lot of money, and you can read stories about this. I'm not making any of it up. You can draw your own conclusion. I'm just saying that those people donated money to those programs.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for science, but I don't know, man. When I was a kid, I remember everything, all those commercials, made in America. And I remember some shit you buy that was made in America was awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It just fucking break.
Like Chevys.
Well, I mean, I think everything has I'm pretty positive. I'm like, even an ugly girl was probably hot sometime. Even that old boy over there probably looked like Fabio for a minute. Everybody has their minute.
That's just your laid back Kentucky attitude right there.
Businesses are the same way, man. You can watch a bar every bar's got about 7 years. A restaurant, any of those businesses.
Yeah.
And then they have to reinvent themselves unless they're so timeless that if they change anything, people get mad and you're stuck.
Right. Do you remember? That reminds me. What was that place that had the Christmas lights up there in Evansville for like 20 years?
Hugs.
It's the House of Como. Remember the House of Como? It was right there off the exit. Remember? It had a Santa Claus on the roof.
Oh, that was always up year round.
It's a little brick building. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the bar that had like 8 million lights from American DJ and Christmas lights.
I do remember Land Hooks.
A guy drove through it and knocked it down.
Did? When was that?
Yeah. And it wasn't drive-through either.
Yeah.
It just went right through it. There was an apartment. It was pretty crazy. I don't know, man. It could have been here for a minute. And what a hell of a time to release something. But the Chinese government also said that it came from American soldiers in October from some kind of military game thing where we sent a team over.
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty hardcore to blame the American military, for 10 people going over riding some bikes.
I will say this.
When you hear patient one.
Yeah, I will say this. I wouldn't put it past, our military or our intelligence to like set loose a goddamn bug on the entire world. I wouldn't put it past us to do that. But I'm not saying it did happen.
You're going to the Georgia touchstone, man. What are you doing? Don't do it. They're coming after us. I got to exit this phone call, man.
They're coming in, man. I hear them.
Open up.
They don't knock. They don't knock. They just crash. They just crash through walls and shit. They come. There'll be a door in my basement.
Yeah. That's where I'm at too, man. I'm holed up in my little sugar shack down here.
Yep. But yeah, man, no, you look at things and you wonder who benefits from this. Well, obviously, if we're going to pass a $2 trillion fucking stimulus, 2 to 6. Trump said 2 to 6.
Aren't we in serious debt? Like, where does that come from?
The debt is impossible to even ever recuperate. There's no way we'll ever back from this.
On not paying China back after this.
Well, that's the thing. There is no way to pay anybody back, and I think everybody knows it. But it's just the fact that we print the world's reserve currency, and we do it by fiat, and we can print up as much as we want. Essentially, I mean, we're going to have inflation, so it's going to be more expensive. But they're giving us what, like 30. I think our family will get like $3,400 or something like that, or 38 or whatever it is for our kids and our 2 adults. So
don't you? Okay. Well, this is a pandemic. And I remember when Bush was running the country, sent everybody $800 checks. This is only $400 more than Bush gave us. And it wasn't a crisis. There wasn't anything. He was just like, man, it's been hard on everybody. Here's a little money.
Yeah.
Go spend it. Like, businesses are hurting.
Now shut up and vote Republican or
Yeah.
vote. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's who do you fucking trust? Who do you trust?
It's weird because I did watch. I'm one of those people that love C-SPAN. I'll listen to every one of those broke dick motherfuckers talk. Them old people, the young people, and get up there. I love that dude. Was he from? He got up there. He just said, "World's greatest country being run by a bunch of stupid people." I think it was from Louisiana or one of the southern states because his accent. And he just looked like your uncle that would scold you that you didn't like. So it took on, it was pretty harsh. He was like, "You guys are a bunch of goddamn idiots."
But seriously though, man, it's what pisses me off about the bailout thing is I think we have the cure. That hydroxychloroquine.
It's weird how people are shitting all over that, and it's being noted in other countries.
Yep.
For weeks,
because they don't have the same kind of propaganda machine that we have here. But then our propaganda machine comes down on it.
Folks don't go hoard it.
Possibly, but I think it doesn't matter to them because the elite. I think the elite people, the Bill Gateses of the world, already have the fucking cure for this. They're already sitting on the fucking shit.
Down the day this shit happened.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that same fucking thing. I'm like, okay, what's happening here? Bill Gates just left. He left Berkshire Hathaway board and he left Microsoft board and says he's going to pursue health issues and also global warming issues for the rest of his life. Is like, okay, I'm now going to be Jesus, and part the fucking waves. That's what kind of got my spidey sense tingling early on. I was like, what the fuck is this?
There's also this article floating around. Don't know if it's true or not. I haven't researched it, about him putting an implant in you. Like, I guess some diabetics have these small insulin pumps in them now that they can control with their phone.
Right.
So I guess he's saying that they put this little nano whatever in you, and it's supposed to give you the shot if you need it, because this is going to come back. Well, okay. If this is like SARS Part 2, right? Why did we need a vaccination from SARS Part 1? Why did it just fucking stop?
Yeah, and that kind of never heard about it. It's just like, okay, never mind.
What happened to it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, well, it's no longer profitable to pursue that, so we couldn't keep up. I think what it was is they just couldn't keep up the panic level to the level they needed to, basically enforce. And that's the other thing. I think that's exactly why they're doing that to the hydroxychloroquine. They're trying to downplay that because they want to sell us a big ass expensive big pharma vaccine, which is going to cost another couple $1 trillion instead of a 1940s cheap ass medication that's already been FDA approved, and there's no money to really be made from it.
Yeah, they know that if it's good as an anti-inflammatory and for your immune blockers. So that's why it's such a great. It helps people with lupus, and it stops malaria. So, and there are other drugs too that other people have tried other places and they've been successful. I even saw a study that said that while parts of Africa were going to be ravaged, they're going to figure why some parts didn't have it, and
because they're already taking Ebola.
They were on the
HIV stuff already. Yeah. They're doing like HIV trials and Ebola. They've got all kinds of antiviral shit already in the population.
Go down the rabbit hole. Do you know who Dr. Hillary Capata is?
I've heard of. That's a guy, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that they say created AIDS, trying to make a polio vaccine. You check that out; it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really wild because Salk already had it. There's another French scientist trying to get it so it would be aerosolized, so you wouldn't have to get an inoculation. And he just went over this part of the Congo, and instead of using the livers of small rhesus monkeys, he used chimpanzees. And that's how we got the HIV, because just like with all the bird flus and all that, they have kind of nomenclature, H1N, SARS.
Yeah.
There's this whole list of disease that comes from primates. And the first case of AIDS on record is 1958 in the Congo, which corresponds with the time this guy was operating. I don't know. I find it interesting. Let me get my tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
But
you know,
do you think that Trump said we were going back to work by Easter just to make the economy jump? Because obviously he knows he's not. He just likes pressing buttons.
I don't know, man. I think he wants to. I think he wants to give us hope that it will restart, but I think he also wants to send a message to the. I think he knows what's going on, and honestly, at this point, you know, just seeing how things have kind of panned out, the way they've been attacking the hydroxychloroquine and other drugs that might work, and basically downplaying them. And his own guy even come up and bitch slapped him in that press conference, and was, you know, Fauci, and he was like, you know, oh, it's anecdotal. All of this, any evidence is anecdotal. Well, you know, the study that was conducted, yes, it was a small sample group of people that had been done to that point, but they were already doing other trials in other countries by that point, and he had to have known that. But he, instead of saying, yeah, you know, this could be a hopeful drug for us, we're going to keep an eye on it. It could be something that you know, saves us all. Who knows? Instead of being positive like that, he just basically slaps him and says, no, it's anecdotal. So to me, that was kind of that was like a sign. And then what the media did after that with that whole fucking aquarium thing. You know,
that's what I mean.
The guy who died, and it was just like some fucking aquarium form of that drug.
In Arizona, him and his wife.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man, but if I drink gasoline, no one would be like, what, you know?
Yeah.
No one would be like, I didn't drink gasoline because Trump said it was $1 a gallon. Go get you some. Like, that's cheap. That, you know, like, I don't know. I do feel like if you work in a facility and you're not a young dude, you're not a young buck, you're not strong, or a young woman and healthy, and you don't want to go to work, I don't think you should be made to. But if you are, I think this would be a great time for anyone that's young and healthy to demand that if you want me to work, you're going to pay me really well so that I can uplift myself and help, you know, and maybe help that generation out, because I'm old. I ain't young. I'm 43. If I got it, if I already had it, I feel like I might be all right. I don't know that. I'm not tempting fate. I'm staying in my house.
Yeah.
And when I go out, I look like Mad Max, you know. People down here still having church.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Church today.
To me, that's crazy, man. There's a good friend of mine who was he was a member of the Republican Party, because I was a Republican, and when I lived in Evansville there I mean, technically I still am. I still am technically a Republican.
I don't know what I am, man. I think each day I get older, I lean a little more that way. I still like to think of myself as an independent thinker.
Dude, I kind of gave up a while back, and I was just like, fuck it. You know what? The other side is so fucked up. There's no, you know what I mean? The whole thing with the super delegates, you could never go grassroots and take over that party. You just couldn't do it because of the super delegates. They're gonna stamp you down at the convention every time you try it. So I don't know why these young people, and it takes young people. You have to be stupid, like you have no concept of what's happened before. You know, so the young people keep going to the Democrat. Let's try this again, and not knowing that's, you know,
what about bumbling Biden?
Dude, that dude he's a fruitcake, man. I don't understand what I think they like him because he's going to be supremely controllable. He's going to be really controllable. If he wins, which he won't, there's no way he's going to win.
What if he gets the nomination and then they remove him because of health reasons and then give it to who they want?
Yeah. That they could do,
but they're like, oh, Joe's mind is not what it was.
Well, the one
put in our own person.
The thing that crossed my mind too is that he's so close to the edge of being full blown senile, really, that if he gets in there and then he gets a senile a diagnosis, an actual diagnosis, like soon after the fact, and has to step down, whoever is the whoever's the vice president will then just step right into that position. They didn't have to be really elected.
Oh, what if they just keep him up there like weekended Biden's? Like, hey,
and then they make him sniff some hair.
Signing shit at his desk.
It's like,
yeah. They make him fake sniff hair.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
There are some strange photos of Biden sniffing hair.
That motherfucker's weirdo, dude. He's a weirdo. Did you see the one where he's talking about kids rubbing his legs? He's like to the kids.
Corn Pop was a
rub my
bad
legs.
dude. He used to run a lot of people.
That dude.
Corn Pop must have been a pimp, is what Joe's telling me. No, that I used to have little hairs on my legs.
yeah.
They'd come up. And they'd be like, "Why are you in our pool, Joe, with your hair on your legs?"
And they would turn blonde. And the kids would wonder why they turned blonde or whatever it was. Why was he doing that story to those
They
people?
named a swimming pool after him where I guess isn't he from one of the Carolinas?
I forget where. Isn't he from Delaware? I thought he's Yankee all the way, I think.
Oh, well, maybe that's where he was at.
Massachusetts or
he
Delaware.
Married a Philly girl because he had something on Jimmy Kimmel the other night.
You watched Jimmy Kimmel? Come on, man.
No. To see what Biden did. And Biden was like, I have to wear a Phillies cap if I want to sleep with my wife. She's from Philly.
But he's a retard. He's full blown. He really is.
He is.
I don't know.
He's not the boys about as sharp as a bowling ball. Yeah, I don't know.
I think. Well, he used to not be that way. Like he wasn't that way.
Man, he's older. Everybody gets that way, and they just keep pushing him out there. They didn't have anybody else that could even get near Bernie. And I like what Bernie says.
Which parts? Like, because I can't find any of it.
I just believe people should be able to be checked out if they need help.
I'll tell you the only thing well, not the only thing, but the one thing I agree with him on is foreign wars and shit like that. But Trump has already been pretty good on that as far as he hasn't gotten us into any more wars, really. I mean, he's dropped a bunch of bombs, but they didn't really hit anybody from what I can tell. So, I mean,
I think, man, he the whole thing right before this all happened with him, with being attacked and everything going on when they fired at the missiles. They said they didn't hit any Americans, but they fired at the base. I think he drew a line in the sand. It's like, oh yeah, and then he took out their guy, and he didn't do it there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He did it on a different soil. And I think they were like, oh shit, this guy's serious,
right?
Like
he's not fucking around. He's not just gonna spend a bunch of money like everybody else is trying to do. That's all they're trying to do.
I never understood. I feel like some point in my life, I remember just like the wrestling and whatever, USA, America, fuck yeah. It was, you're proud to be from, you were born in the USA, even though that song's shitting on the USA.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bruce. But who used that? Reagan used that as his campaign. He's like,
what, America? Fuck yeah. That would be pretty awesome. That'd be awesome.
Just fucking throwing jelly beans out.
It's no longer even ironic now. Yeah. It's just like fucking Mountain Dew Comancho. America, fuck yeah.
But it's okay to it's not cool to degrade a person or a race or a sex or a gender or whatever. But it's cool to fucking degrade America. I like America. I feel like my grandparents were badass.
Yeah.
That was the best. And I admire those people. And I feel like maybe after all this is over, maybe it will create some of those kind of people who are self-sufficient, can do shit on their own,
Come here, sweetheart. You want to say hi to Bosco?
Hi, sweetie.
Say hi, Bosco.
Oh, we got the same glasses, sweetie.
Look, he's got glasses like you.
Mine are blue.
I have glasses too.
Here. Now you can.
Blue's a pretty color. I like them.
Let's go. I have glasses too.
Me too.
Aren't they great?
I have to have them on when I'm reading my little books.
Well, tell Bosco bye. Say I gotta go back upstairs.
Bye. I mean, go back upstairs.
Will you have a good day, sweet girl?
Hey, okay.
Okay.
Oh. All right, go back upstairs. No, not right now, sweetheart. I'm talking to Bosco.
Yes, the door, he's going to take you for a walk.
I'll take it. Hey, after I talk to Bosco, I will.
I'm going to get off the phone with him in just a minute then. So he will take you for a walk.
She
I'll
says,
be
it's
gardening all day.
okay.
I got my gardening britches on. I got my generator going.
What you, did you actually hook up the generator for a reason, or
No, back when the ice storm happened and stuff, my thing is if the internet's going to be bogged down, it stands to reason if everyone's locked in their house, the power grid will. Air
could be
conditioners
when
haven't
the
even
air
come on
conditioner
yet.
kicks on. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I got a bunch of food in a deep freeze and a fridge. I open the windows if I need to. And, if the girls are really dying to watch a movie, I'll throw them in the van and put the DVD player on. But I got a little generator and gas. Gas is real cheap. Go buy you a big jug of it.
Yeah.
A
Just
little
don't touch the
generator.
handle. Don't touch the pump.
Yeah.
Go with your
around
gas
here,
mask.
we got a couple gas stations. They pump it for you. So that's, you
That's
never think
good.
about it. But hey, man, thank you for you being the only guy that's touching that damn thing.
Yeah, for real.
That's a job. That was a great entry position job for a lot of people, or people that had come out of not great situations, or somebody just wanted an extra job, retired and needed a little extra money.
I mean, it was like pumping gas or flipping burgers. It's like, yeah. It's one of those.
Groceries,
bagging
all
groceries.
those things,
Yep.
And they're funny enough, all those things we mentioned are considered essential right now.
But here's the problem, and that's true. But here's the problem with that as well. If you think about Bernie Sanders and you think about what we're talking about with his some of his proposals and stuff, the $15 an hour minimum wage. If you were to give people who are doing those kind of menial, unskilled jobs $15 an hour across the board, no matter where, because some cities that's not much, but like for everybody else, if your skills basically do not rise to the level of being worth that in the particular place where you live, if your skills aren't worth 15 an hour, you're just going to be unemployed. They're just going to move away from pumping gas, which is basically what they did a long time ago.
I'm one of those people. My job has been greatly affected. All my gigs have been canceled.
Yeah,
I'm not crying a tear. I'm not on Facebook going, hey, please. I knew when I was growing up, I chose to be a musician.
Mm-hmm.
There's no job security in it. That's what sucks about this. Maybe I'll get a good song out of it. Doesn't mean I can't do lessons or provide a service, but I'm a gig economist, and so I have to live with that. When we're talking about what you make an hour and everything. But I do think it is a weird thing because you pay all this money to go to college. My wife has a master's degree. She's very educated, and it costs her a lot of money and time.
Yeah.
But right now, she's still able to work through telehealth and help kids that need it. She works with disadvantaged kids, kids with diagnoses, kids with emotional problems, all these things. And right now, those things are really being aggravated. You're in a house, your routine's changed. I don't know, man. The Bernie thing, I think everybody should be entitled to health care in the richest country in the world. If we can pay a guy to catch a damn ball, but we don't have hospital masks, maybe America needs to reorganize its priorities. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm a lowbrow entertainer, low scale.
Mm-hmm.
I make a little gig money. I'm happy to have my job. I do think the amounts of money that people charge for tickets and other things for events is ridiculous. And I'm fully supportive of healthcare workers and the service they provide. I'm not supportive of insurance companies and hospitals charging people. I saw somebody write a post and I thought it was kind of poignant. He goes, the hospital not having $5 masks that cost me $1. Same mask because they've dropped FDA regulations and safety regulations. He said it's almost like being charged $500 for a bag of saline.
Yeah. The insurance companies, as far as I'm concerned, are a scam. The whole thing is a scam because what they do is they partner with the hospitals, and all they're trying to do essentially is prove to people their worth. It's like, okay, you're paying this insurance and we're worth it, because whenever you go to the hospital, they're going to send you a big ass bill and it's going to say, oh, $6,000 is what you would have paid for this service. You would have paid $6,000 for your scan, and you would have done it, another $2,000 for this, and it would have been this, and for your stay, your bed would have been another couple grand, and it would have been, so but none of it costs that much. None of it ever costs that much for anybody, but they make it seem that way on paper because they're trying to justify continuing to pay insurance.
When I lived in Nashville, one of my in between tour gigs was a friend of mine worked at a business called Health South. And I was basically an insurance collection guy working for the hospital, but I didn't see the hospital. I was working for a hospital in Washington, D.C. on K Street. So Maryland, D.C., whatever.
Yeah.
And I would call on behalf of these people, and man, I'm who I am. I would see him like, why did this guy's MRI cost $1,400, and this guy's MRI was $600? Well, the reason is because the insurance company will go and say, well, we have more insured patients with you than anyone else. You're going to charge us this much, or we won't be a participator in your hospitals. So it's kind of like, if you think about like a big business, Walmart tells a company, our people won't buy your service for this much. You got to lower it or we won't carry it. And that happens.
Yeah.
That's what insurance does. And so you look at what they charge veterans. My father's a veteran. And it's fucking appalling that the medical care that American veterans get in our country, it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And so maybe this would just point out how broken our medical system is.
But that should tell you right there what government-run medical care looks like. Because, man, I went to the NHS in England, man, with my wife. My wife's mother was in the hospital. And you want to talk about a system that just looks broke. I mean, look at that, the NHS. And it was like, you just got this sense that's like, okay, you're in, stamp. You got your thing that we had to give you, and you're gone. It's just that was the sense that you got.
I feel that way sometimes around here. I feel like, and I know my wife does, because when you work or bill anybody for Medicare or Medicaid, they care more about the notation of what you did than what you did. Yeah. And that takes time away from her with each individual person. And my wife.
That's because all the regulations and the red tape and stuff, because they won't pay for certain things unless it's coded a certain way. And there's so much.
My wife goes above and beyond and does all this stuff with First Steps and she spends the time with the patient, but she'll be up every night later than normal documenting this stuff. And it's like, shouldn't you just be able to help somebody? Like, have you tried to drop a juice box off to your kid's school for a party?
I haven't. No.
You can't. It's illegal.
Probably.
What if a kid's got a nut allergy, and you touched a peanut? Or what if this one's gluten intolerant, which I have 2 children that are? It's a real thing. My kids, they don't digest food right.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called, celiac. But there are just so many things that this brings out with. I've always felt that way about healthcare, not nurses, because there are great nurses. A lot of great local ones I know, because my sister spent so much time in the hospital. And what I'm saying is, over the years, I felt like the time and I feel like the medical providers and the nurses are being taxed to do as much as they can for profits, where it's economics over life or value of health.
Yeah. My wife works for I agree with you. My wife works for a clinic too, and she's butting up against a lot of that. Like, she's kind of one of those that helps make some of the decisions for the direction of the clinic. So she's kind of, I wouldn't say high up, but she's in the meetings and stuff. And that she'll be sitting there while they're talking about, doing like plastic surgery procedures or something. And she's like, hang on, this has nothing to do with the charter for our clinic. We're never supposed to be doing this. It's like we're supposed to be helping elderly people who are disadvantaged or something, you know. And it's like, why are we? They're like, well, it's just not making us any money, you know. And we have to stay afloat somehow. And I think that's what everybody comes back to. And it's just, and I get it, but it's, dude, it's here's the real solution. I think has been hit upon before by Milton Friedman. And a lot of people will probably take me to task for this because Milton Friedman, he was all against actual licensure for physicians. He completely against licensure at all. So you would have no licensing for anything for physicians, hospitals, whatever. And eventually he argued the market would work itself out. The good ones would stay in business. The shitty ones would get exposed for what they are, which is shitty, or they're exposed for being fraudsters or whatever. And
mechanics do, isn't it?
And that's it. What if mechanics had, and this is his argument, what if other things you had to be licensed to be a mechanic? Like you couldn't even touch a car unless you had some kind of license that you had to pay, to even do it.
Does that go back to having money assures you get the class, gets the license, and poor people can't do that?
That's it. And that's a way also that they control the number of people doing it. And usually, unions love that kind of stuff. Unions love it because it blocks out new competition from coming into the market and driving down prices. And here's the thing, like you mentioned MRIs, and that's a good example because I could go get an MRI right now out of like a little strip mall that used to probably be a pizza place or something. And they've got an MRI machine in there, and I can go in there. I can actually pay cash on the barrelhead, $200, and I can get an MRI today. And all I have to have, I don't even know if I have to have an order for it from a doctor. I think I do, but I'm not sure on that. But I could go in there with the order for an MRI and say, hey, and I called them beforehand when I had to get my last one. I was like, hey, I called this one. I called the one across town. I called 3 or 4 different ones and found the cheapest one. I was like, all right, I guess I'm coming to you. So that's the way. If it was like that, and that's one of the things that Trump's done, I think was good, was he made it, that executive order where they actually are going to have to post how much their services are. And that's going to prevent them from having one price for this tier of people, one price for this tier of people. And when they do that and they show that, people are going to be pissed off. They're going to be like, why are you charging me $600 for the same thing you're charging this dude $100 for? You know what I mean?
So last year, my wife and I decided, we were like, we've got enough kids. If we have any more, we're going to have to rent a shoe. So I started inquiring about a vasectomy. And we have insurance. It's not great insurance, but it's insurance. So went to the doctor, had to get recommended to the other doctor, went and saw him and everything. And for whatever reason, the price was $2,500, which I thought was great. I go over there for the surgery the day of. Not the case when they ran if I have insurance, I have to rent a surgery suite. I have to have an anesthesiologist. If I have insurance. But if I just want to pay this guy cash money, it's $2,500, and I need none of those things. Yeah. So I left right then. I just, with good conscience, either way, this guy was not touching my scrotum, sack, balls, whatever.
Right.
My daddy parts.
And you wonder, but that's the thing. It makes you wonder about why it's so broken. And it is broken. I agree with that. I agree with Bernie Sanders on that. I mean, it's broken, but I think it's broken because we have not had an actual free market, anything like a free market in healthcare for probably 50 years or more. You know what I mean? At least, because it's just all the regulations and shit and all the.
Okay, don't get me started, Ralph Nader. But that dude lobbied for so many things, and because of the biomedical, I had that degree. I would have to read all these.
Isn't he the reason like cars had to change shapes and shit?
The reason cars had to have seat belts. He's the reason they had to have headlights here. He's the
crumple zones and shit.
all this medical stuff, though, he's actually involved in because he's a lobbyist.
Yeah.
For safety. You know, he wrote that book, Unsafe at Any Speed, about the Corvair.
Right.
And then that's what got him. I think that came out in the 60s. That's when the car did. And he just elevated himself. Whenever there was an issue, he was like who's the guy that started
Jesse Jackson. Like anytime there's a race issue, he's like, hey, did somebody call my name?
But it cracks me up because they always, anytime there's a cause and someone's, you know, it's a Black American, African American, you know, not Jesse Jackson.
Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton. Yeah. Al Sharpton. There you go.
Do you know what his actual deal is he was James Brown's barber.
Yeah. I think I heard that shit. Yeah.
So
you can't make it up.
Yeah. Are you a preacher? No. Well, yes and no and maybe and so and howdy ho.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man, that hair, he really used his, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he was at a lot of places that James Brown was, when James Brown, you know, they would play James Brown concerts to try to stop riots. That's an actual thing that happened. To keep people inside in Detroit and Watts at different times. They're like, let's throw James Brown on PBS.
Yeah.
And it helped because you got something to watch.
I bet it did.
It's like if they throw Roadhouse on for me, I'm like, holy shit, Roadhouse.
Yeah, no shit. Yep. I'm going to be there, Miho.
Yeah. I sure as hell ain't going to show you my dick. This one's for Sam Elliott.
Be nice.
Now, man, you go take a walk with your daughter. I'm fixing to go. My topsoil's dried a little bit. It's time to do a little spreading of the dirt.
Well, listen, Bosco, man, thanks for talking to me for so long. I'll probably just throw this up on a channel 2 or something or whatever, and
man.
Because we got into so much conspiracy shit. This will probably ruin my main channel.
It's demonetized. PRS is going to drop me immediately.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
You said what about who?
Yeah. You allowed it. You went on a show with that guy.
No, actually, every time because I feel like you're the Gibby police in some respects. So every time I'm around Paul, I'm like, you'll never believe what I heard because I watch your videos. Yeah. Like, look at this. Why would they do this? They could donate these to children.
I did hear something about what was it I heard about them the other day? Somebody sent me something. Shit. But I was like, man, I'm not doing SPF right now. So I said,
they gave a bunch of musicians guitars after
they did do that. Yeah, they did. After the tornado thing, that was good. And I think they're doing something else now too, like sort of like that. Something good.
I don't know if you can see it. I have a bunch of guitars. I mean, I got a Gibson or two back here. I'm not.
Yeah.
But
I'll play him. Hell, I'll play a Gibson. Yeah.
I don't like that I can't play past the 12th fret. Other people can, fine. I can't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wood there.
I'll be honest with you, man. Whenever you first got your Les Paul, I thought that you had sounded better before that because you were using that Masco. I think you also got into some amps, like they'd given you some amps or something when you won that contest.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Ignator stuff.
Ignator stuff. I don't know if you were using those or not, but it was. But I thought your tone sounded actually better with that old Masco and just whatever pedals you were using and your PRS. I thought. Yeah,
man, it's a weird thing. I got to do a couple gigs and then got some stuff and then got more stuff and then as you know, when you start doing anything a little well and get a little visibility, a smaller place might send you something and you can help that place. It's very symbiotic. You both help each other.
Right.
Or you can land a big fish and they kind of pull you up. PRS definitely elevated me. Like Paul has. So when I'd go to these guitar shows and I'm walking around like, you know, I'm with Paul everywhere I go, people are like, maybe that guy could get a pedal that guy or whatever.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, I didn't turn them down. If I knew I wouldn't use them or Paul wouldn't dig them, I would. But Paul's got a studio, so there's a bunch of stuff up there. And, you know, I've got amps and stuff. I record down here. But I got so much gear and was trying to use it all at once that I really adulterated my tone, if that's the right word. I changed it, and but like I've always been a PRS guy since '97. That's my jam. I got my original guitar back. It's right there on the wall. It's at Greenwood. And I have you know, a couple more. I find those to be, you don't sound like anybody else when you play them. You feel like myself.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have a history.
Does
Hendrix didn't play one. Slash didn't play one.
You make your own. You make your own mark on it. Yeah. You make
like,
your own. Yeah.
David Grissom. You know, like, boom. You think of him, and he has his own sound. You don't think of the guitar necessarily, even though he has his own model. Think of him. You know, Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bigger than Guitar Brand, but he has his own sound. And I know he played other stuff, but it's funny, man. Paul and him must love to set their guitars the same, just heavy neck pickup, a little tone rolled off. I've noticed that, but just the amount of stuff you can get, it can cloud your vision. You can kind of lose sight of things. Yeah, you know, you can be frou-frued. You can be lobbied. You can be lobbied by amp companies and pedal companies.
You can. That's true. And that's the thing. It's like you. I could probably take in more stuff than I do, like for review. Like, you know, if I actually reached out to more places and instead of just sitting back and waiting for them to come to me, you know, like I have been doing, I could probably get a lot more free shit than I do. But it's just, what would I do with it all? Where the fuck would I put it, kind of thing? You know what I mean?
I'm at the point now that because of this, I've hesitated. And you told me like a year and a half ago, it's like, man, don't record on Facebook. Just post your video on YouTube. Yeah. You know? And I probably should have. I've got like 700 subscribers. So maybe this week, in light of pandemic, I'll do a pandemic Pete. I bought all the meat. I got TP by the sheet. I'm going to write this down.
That's good. That's a good start.
Videos, do some dad rock videos, show some people some theory or something. But it's weird not playing out.
Yeah.
It's great being home with my wife and my kids. It's amazing. I love it. I'm not jumping like next week I got this gig and I'm worried. But I do, man, I was supposed to be in Tacoma this month in April. Not going.
Yeah.
At Dallas Guitar Show. I was going to do the Tacoma Guitar Show.
Oh, okay.
And then the PRS Experience is canceled. That was in May.
Right.
It's a big gig.
Probably everything. I would imagine it just about everything
is rescheduled.
Okay.
Jimmy Wallace he does such a great thing for guitar players, man. But the Dallas International Guitar Show, I hope everyone's schedule can be on it, man, because I saw the poster and it's like Paul Gilbert. I like freak. I'm like, and now I know I won't be able to get a picture with him because there's no way he's getting within 6 feet of my ass.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
No more Instagram.
Hey, that's why there's Photoshop, man. Just look, you hold your arm out like this. You go. He doesn't even have to be there. You can just you can Photoshop him in.
Run by in the back. You have to use a special lens.
Photobomb him.
We got to develop the lens. That's how we'll make our money. The lens for 6 foot away selfies.
Yeah, there you go.
To squeeze you both in there.
Well, man. So, what have you thought of any other ways that musicians can make money? I mean, like, because I can still pretty much do what I do, and I guess I'm not really a musician though. I'm not playing live gigs, so it's
most of us have home studios. So
yeah.
You can demo music and record it in your home, and you may not be able to get all the musicians you want on it, or you may be able to because you can send them the files.
This would be a good opportunity to do some of that, like sending files around and
I've seen that been going on. I'll be honest, man. The first 2 weeks, this stuff, I was so worried about my mom and dad and my sister that I did nothing but make sure that if something went down, that my sister had some type of vent.
Yeah. And
air tanks were full, and then my generator, like necessity.
Right.
That's the way I view it. I'm a country boy, man. If the accent don't give it away.
Well, you're a step ahead on me on the generator. That's a good idea because I didn't really even think about that. Like whenever all the AC kicks on and everybody's at home, because you're not going to be. I just didn't think of it. It'd be
Well,
less
you just
efficient.
think New York itself is called the grid to black out before, with just air conditioners.
Yeah.
Air conditioners and ventilators are going to be pulling a lot of amps.
Yep.
Ventilator it's got a pump, a vacuum, sucks, it's a motor. It's got a coil.
Yep.
So
that's true. Absolutely true.
So there's that. And like I said, man, if you're wondering, Google it. Google about BiPAPs and CPAPs and the crowdsourced ventilator, because they're already talking about in New York splitting people, but now they're talking about manual bagging.
Damn.
And that's basically what this one machine did. It was a little motor that pushed that clamp down on the bag and would come up and let it out. And how fast you set that motor is your inspiration and expiration.
Right.
I don't know how you set the tidal volume on it though, because it's just a bag.
Well, I've got a
bag.
I've got a Variac, and I've got motors, so I could make some kind of a eccentric wheel, and I could adjust the amount of voltage going into it. And slow it
people
down.
are probably laughing at both of us, but you hear people talk about, oh, ventilator's a very complex machine. It's a very complex machine.
Yeah,
it is if you put a computer on it.
Yeah,
there were plenty of ventilators made before computer aided assistance.
Right.
There were valves.
But you're not. But that's the other thing too. You probably wouldn't get any of that to pass FDA now because they want everything to be, they want everything to be a certain way, so it wouldn't be approved.
And I don't mean to be like alarmist or that guy, but I'm that guy.
Yeah.
You see how it's in California and Washington. You see how it's in Florida and New York. By the time it gets to Kentucky, you think they're going to have a damn ventilator for any of us? They've got 1,000. They have 1,000.
That for the whole state of Kentucky. For like the whole state of Kentucky.
People in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And we're going to be the last motherfuckers to get them because they don't give a fuck about you and me.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
All the people that live here supplied coal for everybody else's power forever.
Yep. We used to.
We've all got black lung.
Yep. We fucking used to do that, didn't we?
Yeah.
But they took that away from us too.
Yeah. So, and there ain't one person I know bitching about having a job and having dust in their lung or rocks in the box.
Yeah. My papa never did. My aunts and uncles never did. My mom never. My mom was a fucking coal miner. So,
I did surface and underground for very short time.
Yeah. Same here. I went. Yep. Same with me. I was like, man, I'm a musician. I was like, this ain't me, man. I'm a musician. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I did it long enough to realize that there are a lot of tougher some bitches out there than me.
Yep.
So I'm fine with that. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a real smart guy, but I can read and I can look shit up. And if you can make a ventilator, and this is not a joke, you can Google this or anyone else can, out of a normally closed valve, a normally open valve, an air supply. Anybody with air tools has an air supply. Now, how hot will it get if you run it all day? Does it hold the air pressure? How many PSI? That's the shit people got to figure out.
Yeah.
But I think it'll come to that. I'm not saying I'm going to go, intubate my sister or anything. But if nobody...
If it came down to it, though, I mean, yeah.
Would you go to the hospital right now knowing that you're not getting to see anybody? You aren't going to get a visitor.
What would be the point? I mean...
So if I got really sick, there's no fucking way I'm going to the hospital.
Yeah.
There's not. And maybe that's the scare tactic of it. Like it only gets 20% of,
Yeah.
But if my mom, dad, or sister got it, if we hadn't already, like we said, but I don't want to find out because whatever she had was awful.
And your mom, and that's the thing. Your mom with the COPD and stuff, and that you don't want to mess with that because it will take her down. I was thinking about my mama too, man. My mama's got that. She's got lung cancer, and she just found that out too, like right before this hit. So she's actually not going to be able to go. I think have her regular treatments now, and for that, so it would take her down. It would take my other grandma down, and I'm just really worried about them mainly. But I think
you see it's taking young people too, man.
I know.
Bless them.
I think honestly though, if we were actually, stop denigrating these drugs that I believe could end up being the cure, um,
There's way too much regulation on everything, man.
I know.
That's what took industry out of America. That's why you can't get a tube. And well, there's this in it. Well, you need them. Make them somewhere where you don't want people,
Yeah.
We need them. You could say we don't. How is all of our medicine made somewhere else? I wouldn't keep my food at somebody else's house if I got hungry. It would be hard to get.
This is the one thing that we've been fucking up on for a long time, and Trump continued the tradition. To be honest, I'm not going to defend him on this. He built up the military, but and we're always doing that shit. We've spent trillions on the military, so we can go bomb somebody else. But fuck if we can have enough masks, for a goddamn pandemic.
I divided the price of the top fighter from last year, top bomber, by the adequate price ventilators, and it was disturbing how many ventilators you could buy.
Yeah,
I mean it for one plane. And I saw someone else post about the price of a bomb and the price of a ventilator.
But that, and maybe that's hopeful, man. When we come through this, maybe we can all look back at it and say, you know what? Hey, we've been fucking up. And we can all look at each other and say, hey, we've been really fucking up here. We need to be focusing on each other and on what really matters. And, not fucking making these wars for bankers and for fucking oil men and all this fucking shit,
There's been a backlash against entertainers too, like privilege. And man, I'm like, eat the rich. The one thing I did say, and my wife looked at me like, I cannot believe you said that. It's like, the one thing that could come out of this is that everybody got it in the House and the Senate, and it just cleaned house.
Yeah, just cleaned house.
That sounds horrible.
No, it doesn't to me.
I said, but if that happened and it took my life to do that task, I'd gladly clean house. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it was my life for all theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're fucking the entire country.
And like you do too, you talk about, the industrialists and people like this who are, obviously in the pockets of politicians, politicians are in their pockets, I should say. And that they write the bills and just give it to their politician that's in their pocket, and they just introduce
sometimes
it.
they don't even take their name off of it.
Yeah, they don't even. Yeah, they forget to even. Yeah, scrub all that out.
There's a great book, and they made a movie about it, and it's talking about corporations. And I think the film's just called The Corporation. And it basically talks about how, back when we split up all the monopolies, they did get stronger because they were more smaller companies, made more money, but they had less power, so to speak. I think right now, man, companies are just so big that even when we're at war with people and we say you can't do business with them, the fines that we impose on them are smaller than the money they make. So they're like, fuck
so
it,
they don't care. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my wife and I, we were kind of talking about it the other day. We were talking about exactly that. She's like, well, how do you fix something like that? I was like, assassination. That's the only way you could do it. You have to go take out these specific few people who are doing this shit. You have to stalk them where they work, find out their patterns. I'm getting guerrilla tactic here. This is what you would have to do to stop it.
I'm gonna catch a charge talking to you. Fucking
I know. But I'm just being hypothetical, and so was she, and we were just talking. It's like you do in the privacy of your own home, and it's
let me in.
I've got a green screen actually where the FBI busts through a door. I'm gonna put that up right about here.
They already come to you, Homeland Security?
They did. I've got a fucking file because I was a Ron Paul guy. I took to the fucking streets like 15 years ago.
Dude, can we talk about dipshit son though?
They know who I am.
Positive, going swimming.
Yeah.
Like free balling a couple waitresses at the Cheetah Club. I don't know if you really did that. That's just being funny.
No, I didn't do any of that. I'm way too straight. Way too straight for all that.
Rand Paul was a denier. He was like, it's a hoax. But so were a lot of people.
Hey, I don't think it's a hoax. I don't at all. It's obviously a real thing. But the thing is,
I have kids.
Yeah, that's the same here, dude. I'm not taking any fucking chances because I've got kids. It's game theory. That's what it is. It's fucking game theory. Anybody knows anything? You act as if the real threat exists, even though you have major questions about whether or not it does.
Yeah.
You don't care because that doesn't benefit you to act in this way over here. It benefits you to behave as if it's real, 100%. So that's your action.
Well, 20 years ago, man, I'd have been down on the street in Louisville with all those people singing, having a party, trying to buy an 8-ball, and
Yeah. There was a
offering,
time in my life,
stripograms. 20 years ago.
Jello shots.
You're dumb and invincible and strong, but
not anymore, man. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you get back to your gardening, dude.
Yeah, man.
What are you growing?
I've set my beds. I'm definitely growing some potatoes and some tomatoes. The tomatoes I hate because mosquitoes. Zucchini. We got some blueberry bushes in the ground in a different spot because they're more acidic. You gotta treat the soil a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Listen, you busting out the almanac and shit now.
I dig it, man. This is what we should be doing. We should be growing our own food.
I hear you.
And hanging out at home and having maybe a job close to home if you can get one and feel good about community.
I tell you what you ought to do, man, is you ought to do some videos of that because there's a lot of homestead channels that do really well on YouTube, and I bet you some people would watch that shit.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I thought years ago because my life's pretty interesting to me. I never thought I'd be doing any of the shit I'm doing. As you know, we've been buddies a long time. I've had every kind of weird job. I've worked in the mines. I was a lighting guy for a lot of country artists in the late 90s and 2000s. Played guitar, worked all kinds of weird jobs. I went to college for biomedical engineering so I could learn to work on tube amps.
So you can work on, so you can work on.
Now there's your channel. You could have saved me some money.
Yeah.
I know. That's the best. I love your channel, dog. But
thanks,
you know
man.
that I see you all the time. But yeah, man, we go way back, and like I said, we differ on opinion on some things, but this is weird. It's strange for everybody.
We're across the fucking.
Put us down, even though we're not under lockdown. We're under like Cotton Candy Andy lockdown. Like, don't you be bad. Andy.
That's it. My wife has been going over the memes, the Andy Bashir memes.
It, man. Like
they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So when we got hit with that huge number yesterday, I was like, shut it down. Nothing's working.
Shut it down, Andy. Come on, dude.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Shut it down, Daddy. Come on, Daddy.
Yeah.
But he is. I tell you what, man. Like I said, I'm a Republican, really, technically. But he's doing a good job. I have to say, he's made Kentucky proud. I think
he's doing a good job, man. He's getting a lot of flack from me just yesterday. If you go back and look at his press conference, I'm sure they removed my post. We're all gonna die. What are you doing to us? They found a case at GE. There are thousands there. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and
did they find a case at GE? Where down in Madisonville or
down in Madisonville?
Nebo,
they got one in GE. And that's a big factory. They make airplane parts.
Yeah.
Don't know how
aircraft engines
parts are right now.
Yeah.
But they're working, and they shut the factory down for 2 days to clean. The thing that scares me is I'm in a town of 20,000 people. If you do the math, we had 2. Now we got 10. We have 100 on quarantine because a church had service.
Yeah.
And not that we know that that's why there are a lot on quarantine, but we think maybe that's why.
Right.
And they told everyone to stop having services here, but there was a service today. So the only time I'm seeing anyone is going to the Kroger. Thank you, Kroger. I love my Kroger, my gas card, my points. The people that work there are awesome. They've been doing a tremendous job.
Same here. I appreciate Kroger very much, man. Yeah, Kroger, the workers, man. We've got a thing where we can order online and just swing around back, and they'll do it all for us. And man, they're so nice. It's like they'll just treat you like nothing's happening. And maybe that's just what they were trained to say or something. But man, they're just really good
service. That employs somebody.
Yep, that's essential.
Yeah,
that is essential.
And you don't have to touch it. It's one person getting your things, and if they are responsible and wear gloves, and I know everyone that I've seen has.
Yeah.
When they touch anything. So I just wish that non-essential businesses I don't know. Again, it's close everything down or tell the young people to tell their grandparents to go in for a little while. We're going to take over for you. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't know what the right answer is. I think we got to strike some kind of balance, because at the end of the day, if we enter a depression, then how many people die from a worldwide depression?
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
And if you look at all the pandemics, the 5 major ones, Black Plague, which had turned into bubonic, how they come back. I started reading all this stuff about SARS-1. Like, where did it go? Why didn't we have to have a vaccination against it? It was killing all kinds of folks.
Yeah.
Because flu comes from birds. I think all flu comes from birds.
Or swine. Yeah, birds or pigs usually. I think.
Then it's called a swine flu or a bird flu. I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But like even the common flu code that we get is a product of us eating animals at some point.
Mm-hmm.
As that crossing over, and so people can say what they want and say that it's fearful and you monger hate, but man, I've never eaten a lot of weird things, so it's not been my thing. But there are certain things that they're finding that just aren't good for you and that can carry, like those pangolins. They think that the scales on them are how people got. I don't know if that's true or not, but if they're saying that and they're presenting it to me, I have to take it, because I don't know what's media is this way, or if it's all fucking corporate owned and I'm having to scavenger on YouTube for foreign sources of news from India. India quarantined 1.2 billion people. 1.2 billion. There's only 325 documented Americans, I think, million Americans, but 350 Americans here. And I hate to sound shitty, but sanctuary cities are getting hit really hard, and a lot of their funds and stuff are being used on people that you could argue wouldn't be there under different circumstances. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the debate they're going to be having in the European Union, because they closed down a lot of the European Union is supposed to be like one monolithic kind of, we can travel in between state kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of, they're shutting down borders. It's like Italy's like, now we're fucking Italy. It's like fuck.
Yeah.
Or Hungary. Hungary, I think, is
also
one of the main ones too.
This crazy thing, because I guess Chinese people were getting bullied and shit there, because there were a lot of Chinese people.
And then they went starting hugging people. Yeah,
it was hug a Chinese.
I saw that.
Not American, hug a Chinese person day.
Yeah. Well, and what is that? Andy Bashir, I think he shed a tear when that happened. He did.
In Australia, on the Australian news, I believe it's Sky News, they were talking about they have a lot of Chinese people that work there in businesses. And before the pandemic hit there, when it did hit, they had these crazy shortages of things that they had ordered and had. And it turns out that people who were still loyal to their country and their countrymen thought, wow, we better send all this PPE back to China. Mm-hmm. They need it. And so Australia's been hit with a loss of PPE. America sent all kinds of PPE in February to China.
Yeah. Well, that's what we get for being generous, I guess.
Again, man, why isn't it cool? Like, why isn't it all right to say, hey, man, America's cool. Why don't we fix the problem with our homeless, our veterans? Isn't it funny how California found money to put homeless people in homes when they thought they were going to get when their actor's sick, Yeah. I'm tired of celebrity, man. I'm sick of seeing celebrities getting tested, or athletes that get paid way too much money. Man, it's cool to watch, but at what cost?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe reprioritize. But man, I talk about this shit all day.
Dude, that's what me and my wife, that's one of the first things my wife said too, man, when Tom Hanks got tested. She was like, how the fuck is he getting a test and nobody else has a test? It's like just because he's Tom fucking Hanks. Man. And I was like, well, it has to do probably with the fact that he's on like a set that's, $300 million is invested, in his ability to act. And it's same with the NBA. It's like, they've got these hundreds of millions, and it's like, oh, well, our entire season's going to go down the tubes, and we're going to buy the test
let's
one way or another.
Forget the deal with the NBA in China when was it?
That was some bullshit, is what that was.
That was
some
free
bullshit
speech at its best. Or
wasn't it?
Not free speech.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, listen, I know, yeah, we've said goodbye about 2 or 3 times, so I'll just hang up this time, man.
It's so hot. I think I get sued. Sorry, boys to man.
Boys
Motown
to man.
Philly. Motown Philly, homie.
Peace out. Peace out, brother. All right, we'll see you.
Y'all are